Hey everybody, it's a beautiful day in Minnesota. If by beautiful you mean it's going to be about 95 degrees with 20% humidity, it's a beautiful day. We got to get used to it though if we're going to be going down to Panama. I had checked the weather down there and it was nicer, let's go with that. It was 91 here and it was 86 down there. We had 28% humidity here, but they had 68, and their 80 degrees felt like 102, I think is what I had seen earlier. It was quite a bit earlier today. So might as well just bite the bullet and get used to it now. I am obviously inside. I'm still adjusting to dealing with heat. Coming out of a Midwest winter, I'm sure everybody around here understands that you don't acclimate overnight. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Today's video, I am going to talk about our phone change. So we had said in the past to you that we're going to use WhatsApp when we're down there, and that everybody should install WhatsApp so if they want to talk to us, which is kind of true still. But we changed our cell phone from Verizon over to Google Fi. Google Fi has been around for a while. I did look into it at one point in time. But I didn't make the leap for whatever random reason. In looking at it more, because we were trying to figure out our cell phone situation, we had planned on getting down there, getting a Panama SIM card, and trying to figure out life from there. With switching over to Google Fi, Panama is actually included in one of their, I think, 200 countries that you can use the Google Fi data network without being charged extra overages or international stuff. However, if you make a cell phone call on your data network, it's still expensive, like 20 cents a minute. So we're gonna we switched over to Google Fi. It took like maybe 20 minutes. It was only 18 bucks a person, along with 10 bucks for every gig of data you use. I think that's shared gig, or shared data versus independent, a gig for each one of us. But we're always online. I mean, at home, we're always connected to our Wi-Fi. When we go out somewhere, at least here in the States, they usually have Wi-Fi, so our phones will connect, or we just connect our phone. When we go down there, at least we'll have, right away out of the gate, we'll have a data network for, using Google Maps or whatever we may need to use. We probably won't answer the phone if you call us and we're on our cell network, because of the 20 cents a minute. But we'll get back to you. Just leave a message, we'll get back to you. We will be able to receive text messages, so it's easy to just send us a text and be like, give me a call, we got to chat. It'll always be good to chat with people when we're down there. If we're on Wi-Fi, we'll be able to use video services, video streaming, and in worst case scenario, WhatsApp. We might buy one SIM card down there, a Panamanian SIM card, for calling local Panamania people that we need to contact to set up whatever we have to set up. So that's the change that we've made with our cell phone to make sure that we're still connected to people, and part of the process, part of the steps we have to go through to go on this little adventure. Speaking of the little adventure, here's some water. Tiffany had told you in the past that there was some changes to the Friendly Nations visa, which we had planned to acquire sometime, in November, December. We really weren't sure when we were going to apply. We wanted to make sure that we liked Panama before we actually tried to become residents. The law changed, as a recap for whatever she may have said, where we would need to purchase real estate for $200,000 for the 2 years that we're just chilling out on a temporary visa before we can actually become have an actual permanent residency visa. We don't like being pushed into or forced into making rash decisions like purchasing $200,000 worth of property in a country that it's really hard to sell property in. That just seemed like a stupid idea for us, especially when we don't know if we actually want to live there. We found out yesterday as well that if you do purchase property, it has to be titled in Panama, and most of the property actually isn't titled. I can't remember what the 3-letter acronym was, but it basically kind of still sort of owned by the country, I think, or something. Instead of like a personal title, you own the title to the property. So there's probably going to be a lot of people purchasing houses to try to, down the road when this all thing passes, that might actually buy stuff that's not titled and kind of, I don't know, screw themselves. It all depends on what lawyer they have and what information they have about what they're doing. We, speaking of lawyers, are about to retain a lawyer down there to start the process to get underneath the existing laws that are there. I'm not sure how much Tiff touched on the existing laws versus the new laws, but essentially we're doing this so we don't have to be forced to buy something worth $200,000. Mind you, if we end up loving Panama, maybe we'll buy a place worth that, but it'll be on our accord and our choice, and maybe there'll be a piece of land that we really love that's under 200,000 or even over, but it isn't titled. And at least we won't be forced to buy a place that we don't really want to be at. I don't know, so it just seemed to make more sense for us to start this process with the lawyer down there and try to get underneath the current rules and regulations. The funny part about all of that is I think Tiff mentioned that I don't have my passport and she doesn't have her driver's license. So I can't go down there and start the process. And she can't really go down there and start the process without her driver's license. You need like 2 forms of ID. So I'm eagerly awaiting my passport while she's eagerly awaiting her driver's license. If she does get her driver's license and we get all of our other ducks in a row, we have a lot of documents that we need to acquire before we go down there. She will be able to go down there and start the process, get us in the books underneath the current rules, and I can always just join as a dependent. However we do it, one of us is going to be the dependent of the other. I have an email out to the lawyer down there wondering if maybe Tiffany should be the primary and I can be the dependent, mostly because we read that dependents won't be able to work in Panama for 2 or 3 years, but an actual primary can work if they choose to work. We're not choosing to work anywhere in Panama yet, but we just want to make sure we give ourselves an out in case, Tiffany decides she wants to pick up a cart girl job down there at their golf course. I don't know. I mean, just to keep our options open. We're trying to be as smart as we can about this, but it's all pretty much chaos as well. So that's pretty much the status of where we are right now. We'll keep filling you in with as we go along and the things that we learn and the approaches that we took. So friends and family, love you. Anybody else watching this, I'm sure you're a good person too, or at least trying to be. And we'll keep you in the loop. Thanks a bunch. Later.